Rare historical photos. One of the world's largest log cabins. The magnificent Forestry Building in Portland, dubbed by the media as the world's largest log cabin, was actually the second largest of its kind. It was constructed as part of Portland's Lewis and Clark Centennial Exposition in 1905. This enormous cabin measured 206 feet long, 62 m, 102 feet wide, 31 m, and 72 feet high, approximately 22 meters or 7 stories. It required a staggering 1 million board feet of lumber for its construction. The Forestry Building's construction was estimated to have cost around $30,000, equivalent to about $950,000 in today's currency. The majority of the massive logs used in its construction were carefully selected and purchased from old-growth trees in Columbia County, Oregon, by Simon Benson, an American lumber baron and philanthropist. The renowned Portland architectural firm of Whiddon and Lewis, led by architect Ion Lewis, 1853 to 1933, designed the Forestry Building, which resembled a massive log cabin. Architectural historian Henry Matthews, in his biography of architect Kirtland K. Cutter, commented on the Forestry Building. The Forestry Building at the Lewis and Clark Centennial Exposition of 1905 in Portland, Oregon, designed by Ion Lewis of Whiddon and Lewis and his young assistant Albert E. Doyle, set a remarkable precedent for grand-scale rustic architecture. He further described the building as the world's largest log cabin, or the Parthenon of Oregon, featuring an interior nave constructed with unpeeled logs reaching a height of 48 feet. This majestic cathedral of giant trees became the most popular attraction at the exposition, confirming the public's admiration for such architectural marvels. According to the Pacific Coast Architecture Database, the interior of the Forestry Building was adorned with colonnades consisting of 54 massive, unpeeled tree trunks, Douglas fir, each 6 feet thick. These logs were meticulously matched to resemble a string of pearls and required special handling during cutting and transportation to preserve the bark. The logs served as support for a 2-story center aisle in a cruciform layout, illuminated by skylights. Within the building, an exhibit showcased the forestry industry, local flora and fauna, as well as Native American photographs and artifacts. After the exposition concluded, the city of Portland acquired the Forestry Building. Unfortunately, it fell into a state of neglect and disrepair for many years. In 1914, a fire broke out in the nearby California building, endangering the Forestry Building as burning embers landed on its roof. Thanks to the swift response of the fire department, the blaze was contained, preventing its spread. In the 1920s, discussions arose regarding the dismantling of the building to salvage the valuable logs. However, this proposal was ultimately rejected. Nevertheless, the state refused to allocate funds for repairs. Over time, the building became a safety hazard and was closed to the public. In the late 1940s, another fire occurred due to sparks from a caretaker's stove, resulting in a 15-foot diameter hole in the roof. Finally, in the 1950s, the Chamber of Commerce raised sufficient funds to initiate the restoration of the aging structure. Subsequently, the building was largely restored to its former glory. According to a report in the Oregonian, the cabin housed a priceless collection of logging and lumbering exhibits, ranging from antique to modern. On the fateful night of August 17, 1964, the caretaker of the Forestry Building locked up as usual. However, within a mere 45 minutes, nearby residents began to notice that something was amiss. The entire building was engulfed in flames, and by the time the fire crews arrived, it was evident that nothing could be done to save it. The following day, the Oregonian reported, there was never a hope of saving the building. Nothing was saved from the inside. It was later determined that the fire had originated from faulty electrical wiring dating back to 1905. If the fire had broken out just an hour earlier, the caretaker might have spotted it in time to sound the alarm and potentially salvage the building. The fire rapidly grew, creating a spectacle that drew crowds from all corners of Portland. An eyewitness account described the scene. The flames reached almost 10 stories high, illuminating the sky for miles around. The neighborhood was bathed in an orange glow. The windows on the entire south side of the Montgomery Park building blew out due to the intense heat. Glass was falling down to the street below as the windows popped out. Ashes the size of large snowflakes descended within a mile radius of the structure. It was a surreal and astonishing sight. And thus, the world's largest log cabin met its tragic end. Thankfully, we can still admire its grandeur and beauty through these vintage photographs. Truly, it was an extraordinary and magnificent building.